making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Make it green. Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Who's farmer and
Ladies and gentlemen, this is FM 91.
WEGL Auburn.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn's premier home for student radio since 1971. As always, I'm your host, Jack Hardron, alongside the illustrious Alex Houston and the always fun and exciting Chris Tobias on a Tuesday morning. We'd like to welcome in our listeners and viewers from across the Auburn and Opelika Megaplex, as well as around the world, however you may be tuning in today, whether that be on your terrestrial radio antenna, through the information superhighway at weglfm.com, or by tuning in after the fact on Eagle Eye TV, listening to our podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, listening to us on transistor.m, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we welcome you into the show as well, where you can see our beautiful smiling faces this Tuesday morning. We are happy to have you here in the booth with us for Auburn's only student-run drive time morning show. And now, of course, we are broadcasting live from the Bradley Basin WEGL studios here in the Harold Melton Student Center on the campus of Auburn University, where it is a lovely 51 degrees and sunny this fine Tuesday morning. Welcome you in to Compact Discourse. We wish you a most sincere good morning as we get on with the show, and hope you enjoy hanging out with us for the next 2 hours or however long you have to hang out with us this morning. Alex, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yesterday was first day of the last week before Thanksgiving break, and it was a pretty good start to the week, so I'm doing pretty good myself.
Doing well indeed. It's really winding down, isn't it? As the days wind on, the leaves fall off the trees, and the days get a little bit shorter every day. So really, really getting down to it. Chris?
Hey.
Good morning, hombre.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Amazing.
Great. You sound it.
I feel it. I feel amazing.
Great to hear. I know you're enthused and dreading the end of the semester for numbers of reasons, either side.
Either way, whichever way the coin flips.
Indeed, indeed. And I will throw it over to the one and only, joining the show on time as always, Davis. Welcome to the show. No one can see you because the hockey team stole my fourth camera, but everyone trusts that he's there. For the Davis fans out there, I assure you, he's right in front of me as I live and breathe.
Almost broke. I'm gonna break something over here. I'm feeling good though. You've joined my spot over there, Alex.
Yes, I am, Davis. I was
Better
gonna
not get up because I'm stealing it.
I was gonna make a joke that you were late, as you always make jokes when I am, but I decided I was gonna relent today.
I have a reason for being late this time.
Oh.
I left something at home. I had to go back and get it.
When you snooze, you lose.
What?
I didn't sleep in. I was walking back.
What'd you leave though?
I forgot my textbook and something else. I had to run back and get it.
That's
I was
an
already pretty
essential.
far gone.
Crucial.
I didn't
Alright.
sleep through anything.
Crucial.
Fair enough.
stuff.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Essential.
I'll withhold judgment for now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that, I think I would like to remind our audience that if any point in the next 2 hours you feel so inclined to ask us a question, drop a hot take, or in the highly unlikely event that we get something wrong, if you'd like to correct us, you can go ahead and call in at 334-844-9345. That number again is 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-WEGL on your touch-tone keypad. You can also send us a tweet at CDiscAU. We'd love to hear from you. I've got the tweet deck right in front of me, so if you send something, I'll see it right away at CDISCAU. If you have anything to say about anything we talk about on the show today, or you'd like to request us to talk about something, or if you'd like to request another secret 9 a.m. song, we'd love to have that as well. So if you want to hear something, if you're listening to us on a terrestrial radio or WeGLFM.com, we'll play something for you, as long as we got it in our deep data banks here at the WEGL studio. You can also just shoot us a tweet, call in. Any way you want to get in touch with us, we are happy to have you here in the booth with us for Auburn's only student-run drive time morning show. And with that, we will jump right in. No show yesterday, as I was seeking gainful employment in a town far away from here, so unable to be in the studio yesterday. But I would like to give a quick shout-out to everyone over at the Birmingham B&G office who was so kind to me yesterday, including, Seal Houston, Ashley, Katie, and Dudley over at the Lean Department, who made my stay very enjoyable over at the B&G office yesterday, as well as Chelsea for helping me through my interviews. So I want to give a thank you to all of those guys, and hope you're listening today. And with that, we will jump right into the show. We missed out on a lot of sports by not having a show yesterday, including some breaking news that Alex has just brought to my attention. So I guess we can just jump right in with some college football, including what, Alex?
Justin Fuente, the head coach of Virginia Tech, has been – they are parting ways is how they put it. But due to the fact that it is a Tuesday morning at 7:45 p.m. and the team is 4-5, I'm going to say he was fired.
A.M.
And that comes after a 6-year or they're 5-5, excuse me, a 6-year tenure at Virginia Tech where his best season was his first season, and since then he's gone 9-4, 6-7, 8-5, 5-6, and this year 5-5. Fuente came from the University of Memphis. He is the second of he was one of two former Memphis coaches to be hired to ACC schools, the other being Mike Norvell at Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's what happened there. And bit of a, not necessarily a surprise, just a very inconsistent season. Of course, Tech started off on a very high note with their win over North Carolina at Lane Stadium. It was kind of the first big game back with fans. They played Enter Sandman, the whole shebang, and then turns out North Carolina's not that good, and then they lost to West Virginia. They barely beat an FCS Richmond team. They lost to Notre Dame, got whacked by Pittsburgh, and then lost to Syracuse at home, a Syracuse team that is not very good this year. So they kind of been all over the place, but really have not put any consistent success since their first two seasons.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a Black Tuesday over in college football as well, as FIU and Grambling have both fired their coaches, and Blake James is out as the athletic director at the University of Miami after 8 years. So.
I would say for FIU, they did not necessarily fire him. Butch Davis says he will not return due to his disdain for the athletic department.
Wow.
So, because according to him, when he arrived, they had shoulder pads that were 9 years old. They haven't bought jerseys they haven't purchased new jerseys in 11 years. He's kind of done. Then again, it is Butch Davis, so do you really know?
I mean, you never know with that guy.
Exactly.
I heard about that, but then again, FIU's not really a football giant, so
True, but 10-year-old shoulder pads is kind of excessive.
it's pretty bad. I mean, it's a bad program.
True.
Do they deserve better? The kids, the men playing football there, but I don't think that the athletic department really cares. So.
True, and again, Butch started the season. He started his career at FIU. In his first years, he was 17-9, but since then, he has only won 7 games in the last 3 years.
Can you blame him?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and they also, the last 2 years, they have not let him recruit on the road, according to him, of course. FIU has not confirmed any of these reports. There's sideline writers and people who worked with the team that has said there is some validity to what Davis has said, but again, no confirmed reports. Last name, Davis. I was referring to him by his last name.
Okay. I was about to say because I don't have anything to say.
Yeah,
I am not the coach at FIU.
he is not.
All right, well, with that,
I wish.
we will do a quick recap of the scores from over the weekend to prime the discussion for after the break. Looking at Week 11 in college football, it was Pittsburgh taking down North Carolina on Thursday night. That one went to overtime. Kenny Pickett led the team with 3 touchdowns and 346 yards to take down North Carolina, who drops to 3-4 in ACC play. Pittsburgh now once again enjoying the coastal chaos as always and looking to make a trip to Charlotte with a 5-1 conference record. Cincinnati does their thing against the Bulls of South Florida. They are just 1-5 in conference play. Cincinnati improves to 6-0 with a 45-28 rout of the Bulls in Ray J. Over in the top 25 Saturday games, it was Arkansas who came out on top in Death Valley. They defeated LSU 16-13 in overtime by dint of a game-winning field goal in the extra frame. UTSA barely hangs on to maintain their unblemished record. They defeat the hapless Southern Miss Eagles by just a mere 10 points in the Alamo Dome. That game was tied in the fourth quarter. San Diego State narrowly takes down a decent Nevada team. Carson Strong comes out with a strong performance, if you will, 350 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Aztecs squeak by the Wolfpack. It was a Big Ten West showdown in Kinnick Stadium as Iowa defeated Minnesota 27-22 to improve to a 5-2 conference record for Iowa. They will be squaring off with Wisconsin, who defeated Northwestern 35-7 for that Big Ten West title. Of course, we all know what happened in Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday as Mississippi State rallies back in the second half to score 43 second-half points, or 33 rather, second-half points to defeat the Auburn Tigers. Wake Forest gets a much-needed win over NC State. That one was close, 45-42. Go the Demon Deacons over the Wolfpack to remain undefeated in conference play. Ole Miss puts their defense on display as they stifle the A&M offense. They put up 29 in a 10-point victory over the Aggies in Vaught-Hemingway. Oklahoma State adds to their impressive resume by hanging 63 on TCU, who is a team that beat Baylor earlier in the season, so adding to the Big 12 intrigue there. Notre Dame takes care of business against Virginia 28-3 in Charlottesville. Baylor takes down Oklahoma 27-14 to give Oklahoma their first loss of the season. Michigan State bounces back after a loss to Purdue by defeating Iowa 40-21. Michigan survives a scare in Happy Valley, defeating Penn State 21-17. Spoiler makers do not make an appearance this week as Ohio State trounces Purdue 59-31. Oregon does their thing against Washington State to try to host the Pac-12 championship 38-24. Alabama has no trouble with New Mexico State 59-3. And lastly, it was the Georgia Bulldogs, too much for the Tennessee Volunteers in Rocky Top. Georgia's victorious in that one 41-17. Those were your top 25 scores from Saturday in college football. We'll be talking about those and a whole lot more on the other side of a quick break. So keep it right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I've got Chris Tobias, I've got Alex and Davis hanging out with me. We'll be breaking down all those college football scores and more, including what happened in the SEC as many teams were handed unsuspected losses and a whole lot more. Coming up after a break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with the rest of the show.
Fire threatens everything in its path. When it threatens our nation and our communities, we respond. We bring the fight to the front line. The Army National Guard stands ready to face the dangers of Mother Nature and protect our homes and our neighbors. We will always be there when your community needs us the most. Discover more about all the ways you can serve part-time in your community by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alabama's companies know people need to feel safe at work. That's why Alabama Works has partnered with agencies across the state to provide access to everything from CDC guidelines to the latest in on-the-job safety innovations. At alabamaworks.com, you're one click away from what you need to know to get to work safely. Work safe, be safe. Your new success story is at alabamaworks.com.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Alabama veterans. Are you aware that because of your military service you may have earned VA benefits? The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs can help you access those benefits at no cost to you, even during COVID-19 when other resources might be hard to find. The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs has an office near you. For more information, go to va.alabama.gov or give us a call at 334-242-5077. We're open and ready to serve you. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, the ABA, and this station.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is WEGL FM Auburn.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WeGLFM.com, or however you are joining us today. We thank you for choosing to spend your Tuesday morning hanging out with us here in the Bradley-based and WEGL studios, coming at you live from the campus of Auburn University. I'm Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll, sitting over there on mic 2. We got Alex Houston and Chris Tobias joining us as well. Let's talk some college football, as we did the scores before the break, so we'll do the analysis now, as it was an eventful week in the top 25, I would say. There was never a dull moment, lots of intrigue, a lot of close games, a couple ranked v. ranked matchups that ended in spectacular fashion, starting with, of course, Purdue not upsetting Ohio State, surprising a lot of people. You also had Oklahoma being handed their first loss by the Baylor Bears out of Waco to improve to 5-2 in Big 12 play. You also had Ole Miss defeating Texas A&M in a hotly contested SEC West matchup, which, of course, as we know, opens the door up for Auburn to represent the SEC West in Atlanta. More on that later. But you also had, in the Battle of North Carolina, Wake Forest and NC State, the only two good teams in North Carolina this year, went at it, and it was a good one as Devin Leary from NC State threw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Justice Ellison for Wake Forest ran in 2 more. So quite the scoring fest over in where's Wake Forest? I'm sorry.
Wake Forest is
Winston-Salem?
in the Carolinas.
Winston-Salem, yes.
In the Carolinas?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
where Winston-Salem is.
Yeah.
In Winston-Salem.
You said Salem, and my brain thought witches in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so.
the capital of Oregon, obviously.
Yeah.
And those,
What?
Huh? Salem.
Y'all are so gullible, Alex.
it is the capital of Oregon.
It is.
Anyway,
Yes.
continue, Jack.
All right, well, those were the 4 ranked matchups this weekend. What was your favorite?
Honestly, I didn't even know other college football was happening this weekend. Well, I mean, I did, but then let's just say I forgot about it. But what were the games again?
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding. A&M and Ole Miss was pretty awesome.
That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Vaught Hemingway Stadium, pretty great. You still got to question if Lane Kiffin really wants to still be the head coach of Ole Miss based on the amount of times he's like, we could kick a field goal and take the points, but I think I'm going to call a read option again on 4th and 10. So not really sure what's going on there, but still exciting to watch.
I mean, when A&M's offense was as anemic as it was, you can pretty much get away with as many 4th down calls as you want.
True, but at that point, you could also just get away with taking the points.
Auburn football appears in USA Today's Misery Index. That's a headline I just read.
Great.
So.
Awesome.
Does that mean we need to transition to...
All right, I think he said the magic word, and now we have to talk about it. All right, in Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday, Mississippi State Bulldogs entered with a 6-3 and 4-2 conference record. Auburn looking the same. They were 5-4. Auburn was 6-3, boasting a 3-2 conference record. Auburn jumps out to a hot start, taking a 28-3 lead before Mississippi State charges down the field to conclude the second half, making it 28-10 at half. Auburn is held to 6 points in the second half as Mississippi State scores 40 unanswered points, including 33 second half points to defeat the Auburn Tigers by a final tally of 43-34. Final stat line for Will Rogers, he was 44 of 55 for 415 yards and 6 touchdowns. Kobe Hudson for Auburn had 8 receptions for 100 yards and 1 score. And those are your stats from Saturday as Mississippi State roars back to defeat the number 17 Auburn Tigers at home.
Reading the quote from USA Today, nobody has ever seen a normal Auburn season. We know this because of history. Auburn's great years are going to be filled with off-field controversies or football miracles, and their bad years are going to be so spectacularly bad that they'll do crazy things like secretly fly Bobby Petrino in on a plane for a secret interview before firing Tommy Tuberville, fire Gene Chizik 2 years after winning a national title, or pay Gus Malzahn $21 million after having him on and off the hot on a weekly basis. Enduring these ups and downs is part of the Auburn fan contract. You just accept it and move on. But constant chaos might actually be preferable to the garden variety bore that Brian Harson's first season has become. What is Auburn this year? It's a team that has won the games it should win and lost the games it should lose. That is until Saturday when the Tigers blew a 28-3 lead against Mississippi State and lost 43-34. I don't think it's fair to call this season a garden variety first season or boring. I think Brian Harsin has done a great job. I think there's other issues within the coaching staff.
I don't know. For one, I always am annoyed by at least from a national media perspective and outside media perspective, the amount of, yes, they fired Chiswick 2 years after he won a national championship, disregarding the fact that he was not the reason they won and was sort of just there as they won. And not to mention, in 2012, they were probably the worst team I've ever seen.
The reason they won is because of freak athlete Cameron Jarrell-Newton.
And because of one very good defensive tackle that made the rest of their defense look half decent when in reality their cornerbacks might have well run around with their heads chopped off for half of the season. But still, people try to pretend that that's some sort of intense controversy. I don't know. This season feels different to me, if this makes any sense, because for all the Gus years, it was so clear to me that coaching was the crux of the issue. Like, there were so many moments where you just put your head in your hands and go, why the heck are they doing that? And my friend even asked me at the game on Saturday, she asked me which years were easier and more fun to watch, the Harsin years or the Gus years, because she remembers during so many Gus games, I would just go, why the heck did they make that decision? Where in the Harsin era, I do that less. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's so much coaching as much as the fact that I just don't think the team is very talented. And I think it's something that I think a lot of people before the season were sort of accepting that the team was not very talented. But now that they've watched them, they're like, yes, it must be coaching because everyone's fallen back into that. Yes, the coaching is to blame because that's the easy thing to do. But everybody before the season said they were going to be 6-6, and that's not because Brian Harsin's a bad coach. Nobody knew what he was going to be like. They just assumed the talent was not there. And in my opinion, it isn't. I mean, there's talent in certain areas, but that's how Gus recruited because Gus was bad at his job in terms of recruiting. He hasn't recruited a good offensive lineman since 2017, and the one good one that he recruited transferred. So if you don't have talent in certain key areas, the team is not going to function. For example, the offense that Harsin and Bobo want to run requires a good offensive line. They don't have one. Not right now, at least. Tank Bigsby finished the first half with 10 carries for 47 yards. He finished the game with 16 carries for 41 yards. How the heck do you have 6 carries and -5 yards? And it's not because Tank Bigsby is hurt. It's not because Tank Bigsby wasn't doing his job, as I heard somebody say. It's because the fact of the matter is I don't believe the team is talented enough. Now, if I'm wrong, by all means, anybody speak up and tell me that I'm wrong or disagree with me. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Davis?
I don't want to say anything about the game.
Why not?
Because I don't.
You don't get to just ignore it. It happened. It's reality. You have to acknowledge it.
No.
Okay, well, Davis is a coward. Anyway,
no, it's not that I'm a coward. I'm realistic. I've moved on. I have a life outside Auburn football.
Davis just wasn't here in 2012, so he doesn't know the pain.
Anyway.
I was here. I just didn't watch the games.
Anyway.
I'll say something after Chris.
I think that the team is not very talented overall. I think that the offensive line is not good, which it seems to be every year. But that's what happens when you get like 2 stars and at most 3 stars on your line.
2 of their 3 offensive linemen or 2 of their 5 offensive linemen are converted defensive linemen.
Sorry. And then, when you have 2 and 3 stars that are routinely going up against 4 and 5 star defensive linemen in the SEC, I think our wide receivers have on days. Like, honestly, this last Saturday, they were actually catching things. That one-handed catch from Kobe Hudson in the end zone was pretty impressive. But then they have games like the Georgia game where you could, toss them a light floater and wide open and they would absolutely bobble it and drop it. It's just bad. And I feel bad because I feel like this would have been the Bo Nix year. And I know that everyone says that, but after the Georgia State game, which he was rightfully benched in, he was playing out of his mind up until probably the third quarter of the Texas A&M game when the defense finally got to him, which I don't even blame them for because if I was throwing it to dudes that were not catching the ball and I had to constantly keep scrambling out of the pocket to try and save my life, I think I would have regressed as well. So, that happened. And then this last weekend, he was still playing well. But then I feel that the play calling got very cowardly. We got super comfortable with a 28-3 lead, which you would think you would, but then when that is very early on in the game, that doesn't really mean anything. There's still a lot of time on the clock. I don't get why coaches get comfortable with these leads really early on when we've seen crazy examples where people can come back, like this last weekend. I always go back to the legend of Josh Rosen, where Texas A&M lost to UCLA when they were up by, 21 points in the fourth quarter?
They were up 44-10 at one point.
They were up 44-10 at one point a couple of years ago, and they still lost. I will never be comfortable with a lead in college football, and coaches should feel the same. Stop running the ball up the middle 2 times just to chuck it deep on the third play and get nothing. Keep piling the score on until the other team is forced to quit. That should be the mentality.
If I may, I think that sort of was the Jack. I mean, you
may.
So I think that sort of was the mentality at the start. You've got the end of the first half drive where they're trying to go down to get some points, and Bo gets sacked, and then he throws a pass 16 yards behind Kobe Hudson, which actually that was probably a better play because it would have been stuck in the middle of the field, and they would have ran out of time. But they tried to score points there.
No, they very clearly got comfortable with the lead and just started running it up the middle. Davis and I complained every drive because it was like a 3-and-out.
Then they go for their tunnel screen.
No, that's okay.
And then they go run up the middle, and then it'd be third down, and they'd either go for intermediate or a deep pass, and it failed every time.
It was awful. It was just awful
because
to watch.
in the first half, Mississippi State had not been able to stop them running the ball. And what I was saying was they opened.
No,
that is true. In the first half,
they were passing more.
But in the first half, they couldn't stop them. And
then in the second half, when they started to stop us, what did we do? We kept running it.
Even though they were stopping the run. You said yourself that he had, 49 yards in the first half, only to finish the second half with 6 more carries and 5 less yards.
Because they assumed the offensive line would do their job. Not to mention, as I was saying, so they end the first half trying to put some points on the board, remaining aggressive. Then it's just a kick that Anders Carlson does not make. That's what happened at the end of the first half. There's not a shaking your head. That's not. That is, in fact, what happened.
Yeah, but it was because of awful play calling that we got ourselves there. 28-10 is what they closed out the first half in. And then rather than realize, Mississippi State might come back, because they also got ball at half, which, by the way, they did score on that drive. Now if I'm wrong.
We didn't stop them another drive after that.
We did not stop them.
Second half, we did not stop them one time.
And then rather than realize, it's now 28-17, let's start playing aggressive again, they decided to keep trying to do this.
That's not what happened.
Yes, it is.
On their first drive in the second half, they opened with a jet sweep to Demetrius Robinson, then they threw it 2 times, and it was a 3-and-out, and they gave the ball right back to Mississippi State, because they tried to be aggressive and throw the ball. They then adjusted and tried to run the ball because they realized their defense could not stop them. They needed to give them a breather. The fact is, nothing worked. And the fact is, by the time they finally got the ball back again in the third quarter, because Mississippi State runs a very slow air raid offense, it's a very unique offense, Bo got hurt, and he was not capable to throw the ball because every single throw, you could watch him fidgeting with his left leg because
I did notice that. I pointed it out.
There was a throw he threw to Shanker that was like 60 feet above him. It was a bad throw out to the right side, and then you could see him messing with his leg because he was hurt. By the third quarter, they were also handicapped on that part of the offense, and then the offensive line just stops doing their job specifically. They tried to be aggressive for 2 drives at the end, and it kind of bit them.
That doesn't change the fact of the matter that the play calling was still terrible. You call 3 runs up the middle in a row. You don't try anything else.
I mean,
it looked like a Gus offense.
It looked like a very bad.
You can't just say, all this happened, but the play calling was okay, because it was not.
So they had one drive where they were aggressive in the entire second half. It was the first one. It didn't work, and rather than be like, let's
if you know Bo's hurt, put in TJ earlier, put in Demetrius. Why did they do something if you know he broke his ankle?
I'm pretty sure he did not know that he broke his ankle.
They should have known something.
If they go, this guy is not able to pass currently, and to win this game, we need to pass. Maybe we should put someone in that can currently pass.
Well, maybe what they also know is something that I think everybody's starting to figure out right now is the fact that the gap between Bo Nix and TJ Finley is massive.
Yeah, people have. If you
I feel like a hurt Bo Nix and a healthy TJ Finley are closer than you think.
I've seen TJ Finley make some pretty impressive plays. He's not better than Bo, but I'd rather have him out there than broken ankle Bo Nix.
Because if we can at least have a pass game instead of having Bo stomp his ankle at every drive after they run up the middle 2 times and a tunnel screen to the left, I'd like that.
And not to mention, they did also try and be aggressive sometimes as well, but then Demetrius Robinson dropped a pass over the middle that would have been a first down. They dropped back to pass on first down, and Bo fumbled the ball.
But even then, that's like 3 times in the entire second half. They know they cannot stop them on defense. They knew they could not. We did not stop them one time, and they still insisted on doing terrible play calls.
Which is why you've got to run the ball if you can't stop somebody.
What if you cannot run the ball?
When they went up, they were still running the ball.
You cannot run the ball. I would rather pass because it was clear
they could not stop the pass. They could not.
The weakest part of that defense was clearly
Mississippi State could not stop the pass.
Well, they did a few times, which was enough. And then there were enough drives.
We stopped them a few times too in the
first
first half.
The entire first half.
Doesn't mean they gave up on the pass.
Eventually, people get tired, and their cornerbacks were clearly the weakest part of that defense.
We kept getting the middle wide open every single time, but instead they were like, "Oh, let's go 2 post routes and then just have John Samuel Shanker do a little curl."
And then a lot of their receivers did drop some passes in the second half as well. So
I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, but you just got to get back up and try again. They'll catch it eventually.
Shooter's going to shoot, but you know what? They piled the points on, and they scored freaking 30 unanswered.
I think Mike Bobo can learn a lot from Mississippi State's offense.
I think Mike Bobo should not be Auburn's offensive coordinator and probably never should have been.
Oops. My bad.
I disagree with that, but to each their own, I suppose.
It seems like a sufficient number of coals have been poured on the fire for today. So, at this point, I will, I don't know much about coaching a football team, but I don't know. Something bulletin board material. I'm looking at 95.5% chance for Auburn to win. I don't know. I might just print that out and hang that in the locker room.
Maybe.
Just a thought. So we'll continue talking about this on the other side of a break. We'll be right back with some more Compact Discourse. Plenty to get to. If you got something to say about the game, and I know you do, go ahead and call in 334-844-9345. We'll be right back.
Your career isn't a job, it's a journey. Your next job could lead to bigger things, and you're in charge of how fast and how far you want to go. At alabamaworks.com, you can connect with employers and start working right now. Then chart your path forward with training and career planning tools. But it's only the beginning. Start a great success story at alabamaworks.com.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life and in every corner of America, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. The Army National Guard reacts to domestic operations in each of America's 54 states and territories, including Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and the District of Columbia. Each state National Guard's unique domestic role is to act as the first line of defense in support of civil authorities in their state. The Guard's emergency responses include search and rescue missions for floods, combating wildfires, hurricane and tornado recovery, and the presidential inauguration. The Army National Guard. We are always ready. We are always there. And in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
COVID-19 changed everything, and good information has never been more important. There are jobs available right now. Get the facts about what it takes to get one and how you can take action. Use your time to get prepared for the job you need and the career you want. We'll all get through this with information and resources to be ready for what comes next. Your success story is our success story. Get started at alabamaworks.com.
WEGL Auburn.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. It is the bottom of the hour, 8:37 a.m. Welcoming you into the show. It is time for your Auburn weather update. 55 degrees and sunny currently right now on the plains. 73 degrees is your high. 44 degrees is your low. You can find some shade today. It will be nice and cool. 63 degrees is your morning temp. It might get up to 68 this afternoon with clear skies and sun. Clear skies this evening as well. It'll cool off when the sun sets at 4:40 p.m. to 54 degrees in the evening, 46 degrees overnight. So not quite as cold as this weekend, but certainly getting there. Plenty of visibility as it will be clear skies throughout the day. Winds will be very light and variable across the the sky. And looking ahead at your 10-day forecast, it looks like more of the same for the next 2 days. Highs of 75s, lows in the mid-40s. So it looks like a nice week to be outside and enjoy the autumn weather. The leaves continue to change and fall off the trees, so enjoy it while you still can. And looking ahead to Saturday and the weekend, it will be highs in the mid-60s, so we'll continue to cool off. And I'm not seeing a high above 70 in the next 10 days, so enjoy the fall weather, as it is few and far between in the Yellowhammer State. So enjoy it while you can. All right, with that, we're going to jump right back into the show. But that indeed was your Auburn weather update.
Auburn weather.
You can listen to WEGL at the top of every hour to hear a Auburn weather update as well. So keep that dial right here on 91.1. We also have some other good shows coming up today, including the Why So Serious show from 5 to 7 p.m. tonight with the Root Brothers, potentially J.P. Williams. You never know who's going to be in there for the Why So Serious show. That's going to be a lot of fun for 2 hours tonight, starting at 5 p.m. And then right after that, you got the Golden Oldies with Dr. Epcat from 7 to 9 right after that. So 4 hours of really fun music here on WEGL 91.1. Starting at 5, ending at 9 p.m. tonight. Just keep that dial right here on the Big 91. But once again, we'll be here until 10 a.m. talking to you. And once we get out of here, 2 hours of rock music as always. And that's going to do it for your Tuesday schedule. So get excited for that. And with that, we're going to jump right back into the Mississippi State versus Auburn game. Alex, opening statements on the defense.
What do you guys think of the defense? I'm very curious.
You can't throw your opening statements to us. That's not how opening statements
Sadly
work.
not, Alex. You have to say it yourself.
All right, fair enough. I mean, honestly,
the defense, one word, tired.
Honestly, at the end, yeah, again, there was the fact they were on the field constantly, and not to mention, like, again, I just don't think they had the talent on the back end. But again, you know, hey, Roger McCreary looks pretty cool once a decade, so I guess it must mean that the entire defensive backfield is incredibly talented. They aren't, in my opinion, and I think that therefore gives. I mean, think about it. Where is the strength of this defense? Their defensive line is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, T.D. Moultrie gets more penalties than he gets sacks in a game on a weekly basis, and then from the defensive backfield necessarily, I think there's a lack of just overall talent. There are good players there, but I just don't think there's enough to be able to run any particular defense that works. I mean, you rush 3 hoping your defensive line will get home, or hoping that, you know, you give your defensive backs 8 guys to cover the Mississippi State offense and it doesn't work. I don't know. I'm less critical of Derek Mason because, again, I've seen him make great adjustments and make great decisions in games past where when it doesn't work, it almost seems more like the team itself is confused rather than he made a bad call. But what do you guys think?
I don't think Derek Mason is the problem here, honestly. I just think that the secondary is weak, and the defensive line, while still good, is probably the worst it's been since before I came to Auburn. I mean, we've been blessed with some pretty amazing defensive players. I mean, I remember, you know, Derek Brown here the last few years. What's his name? The guy that used to do the
Jeff Holland.
Jeff Holland, watching him freshman year is pretty amazing. We've been really lucky with some super talented defensive linemen, but you know, eventually that was gonna come to an end. Not saying that the defensive line this year is bad; they're just not as good as they have been. It's the secondary that's bad, and I think the secondary has always been bad for Auburn. You know, you have NFL analytic people absolutely salivating over Noah Igbenogany, but I don't think I ever saw him make a play against a team that wasn't like one that we paid to come here. You know, like the intangibles can be there, whatever. Who's the cornerback that NFL people are salivating over now?
Roger McCreary.
Roger McCreary, yeah. He had that one play in the first quarter where he broke up the pass, and then after that, wide receivers were just torching us.
In his defense, he is probably the best player in that defensive backfield, and especially in man-to-man coverage, but they have to run zone because a lot of the guys, at least from my interpretation, I don't believe Derek Mason thinks they can cover people one-on-one. McCreary can, Jalen Simpson can, but in terms of the likes of Zion Puckett and Nehemiah Pritchett, they've gotten beat by everybody under the sun when they're in man coverage.
Yeah.
Georgia, for example, they tried to run man, and it didn't work.
No, but even Smoke Monday has regressed since last year. He was really good last year, probably the best player on the defense, and then this year, I feel like every game, Jack is pointing out some sort of missed coverage or or play or something that was botched because Smoke Monday wasn't where he had to be. But, he's got the name recognition. He's not the worst player on the defense, but he's regressed from where he was. He's probably top 4, top 5 defensive players on Auburn right now, but I don't know how much that is saying something,
Yeah, I think people seem to forget that last year the defense was pretty bad.
It was
despite being led by the almighty Kevin Steele, who could do no wrong for a 4-year stretch where he couldn't. They had great defense from 2016, 2019. They were bad last year, and they lost more talent from last year. They did not gain a lot. There are not a lot of standouts or people that have joined the team that are really making a difference. Derek Hall, Colby Wooden, and T.D. Moultrie are the same guys who were on the defensive line last year. They're the same ones this year. They didn't gain anything else. And I think, there's just not enough talent across the board for this defense. And same goes for the offense. This team is just not as talented as I think people were thinking it is. And I think the reality is, as much as you can chalk it up to coaching in certain aspects, there were a lot of plays where it just looked like people had no idea where they were on defense, which is that really coaching, or is that players just not understanding their assignments and their roles? I don't know. I'm not a coach. I'm not a player. I can't give some inside assessment on that.
It was unbelievable how many times Mississippi State gained yardage or gained first downs on just on slants. It felt like at one point in the third quarter they were doing like the NCAA hold Y, call the same play, slants, and every time it would work. That's probably something that I put on defensive coordinator. That's probably something put on Derek Mason. There was zero adjustment to try and stop those slants. They were hitting it every single time. I feel like in the third quarter it was always the slant.
I think part of the problem was the fact that their scheme worked in the first half, like completely. Mississippi State gets one touchdown at the end, but outside of that, what they ran worked the entire time. And then Mississippi State made the adjustment, and Auburn did not, of course. But I think that was part of it, was the fact that it did work in the first half.
Yeah, but when do you finally say, all right, this isn't working anymore? Is it when you blow a 28-3 lead? Is it when after 2 offensive drives they are now within 1 score of you in the second half? When do you finally say, okay, maybe we need to revisit this? Because it shouldn't have been with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter or whatever. It should have been when you realized they were moving down the field and that a 28-3 lead means nothing in college football.
On that, we agree.
Yep. Zacoby McClain and Chandler Wooten led the team with 13 and 10 tackles respectively. So, as always, it's up to the linebackers to do it all for the Auburn defense, and they can only do so much. And it showed on Saturday as the air raid got to him, and it proved to be just a little too much as Mike Leach and his team does get a win in Jordan-Hare as a result of any number of factors, you name it. So, with that, we will head to a quick break. We'll be back for the final segment of the first hour in a few minutes, and when we return, much more to discuss here on Compact Discourse. Don't go anywhere.
The Delta variant cases of COVID-19 might be more infectious and more transmissible, but there is something we each can do to limit the spread of coronavirus. Wear a mask. Whether it's homemade or manufactured, embellished or plain, wearing a face mask or covering in public, in addition to social distancing and regular hand washing, is one of the easiest ways to protect yourself and others from coronavirus. According to the CDC, wearing a mask is an important part of a layered prevention approach that not only helps to limit cases of COVID-19 infections in communities where vaccination rates are low, but doing so can also limit the emergence of future COVID-19 variants. By wearing a mask or face covering, especially in crowded indoor spaces or busy areas with limited ventilation or poor air quality, you can do your part to keep yourself, your family, and others around you safe. For more information, visit our website at alabamapublichealth.gov. That's alabamapublichealth.gov.
COVID-19 changed everything, and good information has never been more important. There are jobs available right now. Get the facts about what it takes to get one and how you can take action. Use your time to get prepared for the job you need and the career you want. We'll all get through this with information and resources to be ready for what comes next. Your success story is our success story. Get started at alabamaworks.com.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is WEGL FM Auburn.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. Got a little more college football news to hit before we head to the top of the hour break. Alex, your microphone is on. No more Spider-Man talk.
Apologies, everybody.
We will get to Spider-Man talk later on in the show.
Telling me stuff I've already seen. All over it.
After the,
I heard Spider-Man was there.
After the secret 9 a.m. song plays, which you can only listen to by tuning into WEGL 91.1 FM or our live stream, there will be Spider-Man talk at the start of the next hour. So if you're excited for Spider-Man coming out on December 17th, stick around for that. We got some experts ready to weigh in on all things human spider. All right, some stuff that happened in college football other than Justin Fuente and Auburn blowing a 28-3 lead. Texas lost to Kansas.
Yeah.
So Auburn fans, it ain't that bad. At least we're not Texas.
Yes. At least you did not hand Kansas their first road conference win since, wait for it, 2008.
Yo, that's the Mark Mangino era. I love it.
That was also the year that Kansas won a national championship in basketball. So
what a year for Kansas.
Great year for KU athletics.
Everyone shed a tear for Chris's fantasy team. I scored the most points I've scored all season and still lost.
That's unfortunate.
Unrelated, but I'm checking the app right now, and I would have beaten literally any other team.
So
also, Jack, if
they had that Paul Pierce magic in Austin last night.
If I may, not last night, you mean?
Yeah. You know, it's Tuesday.
The 2008 season is the most recent winning season for the Jayhawks, and they have gone 25-115 since then.
Yo,
awesome.
Could be worse.
Jayhawks.
But they've beaten Texas twice.
They have beaten Texas twice, and they got a win in Austin by a final tally of 57-56 in overtime. As Texas is not back. Well, they are back to losing to Kansas, if you will.
Yeah, it's really bad, and you know the argument has to be had of Tom Herman was not that bad. They were 7-3 last year. This year they're terrible. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful performance from Texas, and the reality is, I don't know how it's gotten so bad so quickly because again, they were not that bad last year, not at all.
Nope. Jimbo Fisher also had a pretty awesome quote saying that he'd be the dumbest human being on earth to recruit such a strong class at Texas A&M and then leave that said class to go coach at LSU, which I think is an awesome answer.
Which is exactly what he said when he was at Florida State, essentially. I mean, I mean no disrespect to Jimbo, but I don't like Jimbo.
You wouldn't want to disrespect Jimbo.
But with that in mind, I mean, coaches have said similar things before. I mean, how many times you can play the clip of Nick Saban saying, how many times do I got to say it? I'll say it 37 times. Not going to be the Alabama coach. Then he's on a plane to Tuscaloosa from Miami 4 days later.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Exactly. I mean no disrespect, but Jimbo abandoned the sinking ship that was Florida State. Now, Texas A&M is not necessarily a sinking ship, but LSU is LSU. And one is easier to win at than the other because one has more history than the other, and one is just a better overall program than the other in history. So I get it, but also, I'm not going to believe it till I see it, which that's when LSU hires a new coach.
Yep. And we got plenty of candidates for that, including Mario Cristobal. I don't know. People just say anything, don't they?
I mean, I don't know if Mario
Lane Kiffin.
I don't know who LSU is going to go after. I would imagine it's going to be Lane because he is, the hot ticket coach right now. I mean, he's the guy that everybody's going to be going after, but I don't know exactly who LSU can go after. I'm trying to think of past coaches. Dave Aranda, a good option in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to talk about him in a minute too.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, okay. You're done?
I mean, I mean, I just couldn't think of anything else outside of Aranda, Kiffin, and Cristobal. Cristobal, Oregon fans are kind of done with Cristobal as far as I can tell. So maybe
Especially
he'll
comes
be
to Auburn.
What?
He's coming to Auburn.
Well, why on earth would never?
Because
mind.
I want him to.
You really, Davis?
We need an Italian coach. It's about time.
Now that Chris and I have our speaking privileges back.
Go ahead and say your 2 cents, Davis.
I want Cristobal because I think he's cool. That's all I got.
Such expert analysis from Davis. Truly unlike anything we've ever heard
Yeah,
before.
from the guy that doesn't watch a lot of college football. What else you want me to say?
I don't know,
You want to talk
Davis.
about his dog's eating habits or something like you would?
Yeah. What? When have I ever mentioned anything like that?
He's being hyperbolic, Alex. You ever heard of it? Oh, yeah, you definitely have.
Whoa, Davis is a little angry this morning.
You got me riled up after Auburn football talk,
Somebody
Alex.
didn't get his 9 hours of sleep last
I got
night.
it. You did.
Somebody go get Davis a granola bar.
You're not you.
Failed
when you're
bangers.
hungry.
Try that one again, Alex.
Eat a Snickers bar.
Davis, as long as it annoys you, I consider it success in my book.
All right, so Dave Aranda, get this, goes for a field goal even though his team was already winning, right? But it was actually not him being vindictive, but it was actually to try to claw back his way into the Big 12 standings because, as you may know, the Big 12 does not have divisions. It's just the best 2 teams out of the 10 teams in the conference. And currently, he's knotted up with the 2 Oklahoma teams for the top 3 spots. He's sitting at 3 with a 5-2 record, while the 2 Oklahoma schools are sitting at 6-1. So what Dave Aranda was doing there, if you were a bit perturbed by going for a field goal while you're already winning, he was trying to get the tiebreaker points in order to squeak his way into the Big 12 championship. Thoughts on that, Alex?
I am very curious to see. Like, I did not know that it came down to point differential. I figured if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, they're in. Like, because at the current juncture, then it'd be like, say, 6-2 Oklahoma, 6-2 Baylor. Baylor has the tiebreaker win. I figured.
But,
So-
I mean, wouldn't they have all beaten each other at that point?
Well, yes, they have, but still, it comes down to the fact that you have the win over that team. Like, yes, Oklahoma State beat Baylor, but you beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not beaten Baylor. I don't understand why this is the way that it is. It doesn't really make any sense to me, to be quite frank. But I mean, hey, I love the Big 12 chaos, and I mean, right now, Baylor has 2 winnable games. Their focus is on Bedlam because they got Kansas State next week. They got Texas Tech the following week at home, which Texas Tech did recently fire their coach and then actually won a game after the fact, which I think is kind of insane. They beat Iowa State 41-38 in their first game since firing Matt Wells. So that's something. But I mean, I'm confused by that, but good strategy on his part. Also, Oklahoma looked terrible. Davis, what did you think about Spencer Rattler getting back in?
I didn't notice.
Really? It was insane. I know he's your favorite player, so I figured I wanted to ask.
Did he play good?
I don't know. Caleb Williams got benched, and he came back in.
Why'd he get benched? Was he
Because
playing
Caleb
that
Williams
bad?
was apparently he was.
So at the time Baylor defeated Oklahoma, Iowa State had not lost yet. So
that's
okay. That's Dave Aranda was thinking about the attack of the clones.
But Baylor has beaten Iowa State, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm just telling you what Dave said.
Well, Dave clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, so I'm a little concerned because this doesn't make any sense.
Anything that makes Lincoln Riley upset is something that makes me happy, though.
That I can support.
All right, with that, we are going to head to our top of the hour break, and we hope you join us for the second hour. If you cannot join us for the second hour, we thank you for joining us for the first hour. We will be hanging out with you until 10 a.m., so keep it right here on 91.1. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. We might even have the secret 9 a.m. song playing, so keep it right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. We shall be right back in a few minutes.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tossing food wrappers and soda cups can be expensive. That $7.99 value meal you threw out the window could cost you $500 in fines. And if you don't learn your lesson the first time, a second fine will cost you $1,000. Put garbage in its place. Throw away your trash, not your cash. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
You can beat your toughest opponent. You can beat your best time in the mile. You can beat that old largemouth bass. But one thing you should never try and beat is a train. If a train is approaching, don't risk your life trying to beat it, because beating the train is a deadly game. Drive safe, Alabama. Sponsored by ALDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's the top of the hour, about 9 a.m., and you're still listening to WEGL 91.1 FM. Well, you made it this far. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. You've earned it.
I really need a cup of joe, and if I don't get one, I think I might blow a gasket, and it's not a pretty sight.
We'll be right back in a few minutes with the second half of the show. Thank you so much for listening to Compact Discourse. What's up, everybody? It's 9 a.m., which means it's time for the secret 9 a.m. song. Chris, how you feeling?
You're listening to Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction.
Oh, he buried the lead already. That's right. Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction is the secret 9 a.m. song for today. If you have a secret 9 a.m. song you'd like to request, you know how to do it. Call us in 334-844-9345 or at CDiscAU. Once again, you can only hear this if you're listening to us on WeGLFM.com live or by tuning in your radio from 8 to 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. All right, without further ado, here's Jane's Addiction, Mountain Song.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, it helped me pay for my house.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
There are 250 miles of trails in Alabama state parks. That's 250 miles for you to hike, bike, and explore. And it's something we want to share with future generations. Help us improve these trails by becoming a partner in the Alabama State Parks Trail Program. To learn more about the importance of outdoor recreation and how you can help with the development and management of this new trail program, visit alapark.com or call 800-ALAPARK. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad.
How can we make Alabama a more beautiful state? By keeping our roads, highways, schools, and communities litter-free. It doesn't take much, but to think before you act. So what does the next generation say?
Pick it up, man. Take pride in your school. Did you just litter? Clean it up, dude.
How can you make a difference? Adopt a mile. Join the Alabama Clean Campus program or join in the Spring Cleanup or Alabama Coastal Cleanup. And remember,
Don't drop it on Alabama.
This message by People Against a Littered State, the ABA, ALDOT, and this station.
I want that wall-crawling arachnid prosecuted. I want him strung up by his web. I want WEGL Auburn.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hard, joined alongside Alex and Davis and Chris, welcoming you into the show today. Let's pull up our beautiful 3-box camera. 3-box, because once again, the hockey team did steal my 4th camera. If you don't believe me, there's a beautiful black screen where Davis should be. Might be an improvement depending on who you ask, but we'll head back over to the 3-box as the peanut gallery continues to make jokes. We are available to follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WEGL_AU on all 3 of those platforms. I think we even posted a TikTok on our Instagram story, is what I was told yesterday. So check that out if you haven't already. The guy in it's pretty cool. So we got that. We've also got WeagleFM.com. You can check out all of our articles. We got the sports team working super hard writing articles. We've also got plenty of entertainment news as well. Album reviews, concert reviews, and the like. We also got the schedule there and a direct link to our Twitter, podcast, WEGL sessions, everything we got going on WEGL. You can find it all at WeagleFM.com. So that's where you want to go. That's the jumping off point for the web. All right, with that, we're going to jump right back into the show, and it's the top of the hour. So, of course, we have to change topics, and I don't know about you guys, but
I heard Spider-Man was there.
That is indeed true. December 17th, Spider-Man something home comes out.
No Way Home.
No Way
That's
Home.
why I have to be Spider-Man. No Way Home. It's a reference to something.
I don't understand.
I get it. All right, Spider-Man is coming out.
It's some kind of cowboy beef.
The thrilling
not really
conclusion of the Spider-Man saga.
You're gonna carry that weight.
Is going to come out in December. Is that accurate, Davis?
I don't know about the conclusion.
Spider-Man will perish.
It is the conclusion of the Home trilogy, is what they said. And if it's anything to go off of, according to Tom Holland, I don't know how much of a reliable narrator he is.
He isn't.
He did say that this movie is not going to be happy. It's going to be very sad and very dark. So I'm going to hold him to it because I'm starting to get sick of I think a lot of people are starting to get sick of the Marvel formula of, witty jokes and whatnot. And it took people a lot longer than myself to get there. I checked out during Endgame. I'm glad I did because it seems like every movie since has been the same movie, just with a different character.
It's very much, I think Davis and I have talked about it extensively at this point where, we're very much tired of the MCU formula, but hey, maybe Tobey Maguire will be there.
This is the only movie I'm excited for in the MCU right now.
I'm kind of excited for Multiverse of Madness.
They better hope that this one works because I think that everyone is finally starting to catch on with the Eternal reviews being pretty mid-tier, which is uncommon for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Exactly, and I think that shows that the formula is waning on the lesser-known heroes. For example, Spider-Man's always going to be money. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen, made $700 million. Spider-Man sells because Spider-Man is one of the most popular superheroes in the history of humanity.
Because he's the GOAT.
But with that in mind, you're seeing that the lesser-known heroes are not able to survive the MCU formula because the fact is, without that drawing power, what are they? They're the same as every other character, really. There's nothing that stands out. Where Spider-Man, they have that lore in the background to where people can really enjoy him. Where I think this one, again, should be ballooned by the fact that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe and Thomas Hayden Church and Jamie Foxx will all be reprising former roles.
The first two are not confirmed.
True.
Andrew Garfield's saying we'll see. He's not even denying it anymore.
And as Davis showed me yesterday, there is a photo of Zendaya at this thing, and then also Tobey Maguire took a selfie with fans at this same thing. And based on the two photos, they were like feet apart from each other, so there's that. I mean, I imagine they'd be in it. I feel like
they're probably going to be in it.
If you don't put them in it, it's a bad PR move for just the movie itself because people are so much expecting it now. You can't not. Not to mention, again, what is the point of getting back all these villains if you're not going to have? What's the point of going through the multiverse to not show the heroes? It's like going back through, like, say DC did the same thing. It's like we're going to go back and see Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman but not have Michael Keaton's Batman. Like, you got to have them both show up. Same principle here, in my opinion.
I just want to know how they're going to justify bringing them back to life because the two main villains that they've been advertising both died. They're very dead.
The Doc Ock one is more, you could say, when he's falling down in the water, he suddenly gets sucked out through the multiverse. That's like the prevailing theory. That one makes sense.
He was dead.
Well, or it's just they're from another universe where Spider-Man lost.
Yes, that also is.
I guess they could just be like, oh, they're alive in this one.
Does Marvel have to play by the rules of the first 3 movies, though?
No, I mean, they reinvented
they should. If they want to have favor with fans, they need to.
I mean, because the Endgame stuff kind of blew up in their face when they just reinvented rules of time travel that kind of made no sense. So I think
blew up in their face, meaning they made $1 billion.
Two McFlys,
I don't think
one
Endgame had any negative things said about it. I'll be honest.
Alex is the only person that I hear gripe on it consistently.
Well, yeah, I didn't like it, but I mean,
I know.
Maybe that. I mean, what is that a bad thing to not like?
No, it's not a bad thing to not like it. But I think you're applying your disdain for it to everybody else.
Dislike
I don't
that
care.
And that part of it.
I don't care about it.
Name one.
Name one other person that cares about it.
Well, the people I saw the movie with seemed to care about it, which included my roommate.
Did they care about it because you wouldn't shut up about it?
No, not at all. In fact, I did.
I'm sorry,
shut up
Alex.
about
I'm
it.
being mean.
You are being mean, Davis. It's what I expect. You don't really have much else to contribute, so that sounds about right.
But
that's even meaner than anything I did.
You're like an old married couple, you two. Anyway.
I can't sit anybody next to anybody in the studio.
Davis and I aren't even next to each other.
I know, but I can't have him next to Chris because they start yucking it up on their phone.
Look at this! Look at this crazy! You can show your camera.
Look at this.
You can show your camera as well.
Okay, we're talking about Marvel. The Hawkeye show is coming out pretty soon, which apparently people are super excited for. I do not care, but they released this god awful poster.
That's an official poster.
It might be one of the worst posters I've ever seen.
Hawkeye and Hawk Girl. I don't know what her name is.
It's his
We
daughter.
do not care.
His Harris or whatever. And
That
just
dog's
a dog.
supposed to be winking?
Yes, it's a pizza dog or whatever.
It's like a Hallmark movie poster.
This Christmas.
I assume this guy who is Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's Jeremy
Why
Renner.
does he look so despondent?
He's deaf.
He is deaf.
He is deaf.
So
That's no reason to be
in the
sad.
show. I don't know. That's the only reason I could.
According to you, Davis, being deaf therefore requires him to be.
He
quote,
can't hear any of the happy music going on around him.
This
It's not a circus.
So okay, here.
Hey,
Get that dog.
Here's my theory. Here's
I'm
my
gonna shoot
theory.
that
Arrows.
hawk
Oh, I'm
with
doing
my-
visual things. Don't have a camera.
I'm gonna see that hawk
That's
with
unfortunate.
my
Davis was
eye.
shooting arrows. I'll say that.
Switch over to Davis's camera. There you go. So, Alex, why don't you take us out for this break?
I feel like it was just a means to distract everyone from the bad Spider-Man poster. It's all just every poster.
Which is also
distracting
very
from the next.
bad.
Spider-Man
Which is-
poster is also very bad.
Talk about the cinematic universe. Now they're using them as diversions in posters.
Exactly. It's quite something. I mean, they're terrible. I'm not excited for anything other than Spider-Man and maybe Doctor Strange. Davis, what about you?
I only care about Spider-Man.
I heard Spider-Man was there. All right, plenty to get to. Entertainment chat will continue on the other side of a break. Keep it right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, hanging out with Alex, Chris, and Davis until 10 a.m. So keep that dial right here, 91.1 FM. We'll be right back with some more chat on the other side of a break. Don't go anywhere.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not gonna listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad!
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Hey, Russell Wilson here, and I know how important exercise is.
It's essential. It's essential.
With Play 60, United Way and the NFL are helping kids stay active and play at least 60 minutes a day.
Healthy kids. Healthy kids.
But what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60 because great things happen when we live united.
Donate.
Are you guys gonna do that every time?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
91.1 WEGL FM, Auburn University.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, as always, Jack Hart, joined alongside Chris Tobias, Alex Houston, and Davis Carroll. We are hanging out with you on a Tuesday morning, getting excited for the holiday movie releases, as it is other than the summer. Correct me if I'm wrong here. The biggest time for movies to come out in the year?
Yes, it is.
So, what else is coming out this holiday season that we were excited about?
Well, honestly, I can't remember there being that many big ones coming out in December. I'm going to go ahead and double check.
I think The French Dispatch might be getting a wider release, maybe. I'm not positive about that, though.
That's one that I have heard about as well. Also, this is really a hot moment for trailers because a lot of January and February is kind of considered the dead month for movies. Like when movies go there, they fail. February and January tend to have the lowest revenue of all months in terms of movies.
Okay.
So this is where they release a lot of trailers for March and April and May films because that's when really the big promotion starts. And then your May, the 3rd, May 4th weekend is really the big weekend building up. But Spider-Man and MCU stuff is kind of the big stuff right now.
What about the Kurt Warner movie?
Oh, God.
The one that's going to be bad, the Hallmark Kurt Warner movie.
It's what it looks like. It looks awful.
A man bagging groceries never knew that he could
bag trophies.
He could go from throwing lettuce to throwing touchdowns.
Throwing lettuce?
I don't know. What do you throw if you're a grocery bagger or a stock keeper?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. So there's
Exactly.
House.
Throwing tomato
All right,
cans.
I've got a couple. House of Gucci is going to release November 26th, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Adam Driver, Jared
Oscar
Leto,
bait.
Lady Gaga, Al Pacino. That's probably true. Licorice Pizza, which is the next Paul Thomas Anderson film. He makes some traditionally very odd movies. It looked kind of good though. Encanto, which
I actually do want to see.
yes,
that.
I assumed Davis would want to see that
What
one.
is that one?
It's a new Pixar. It's a new Disney movie. It's set in like Mexico. It looks really good.
Yes, exactly. And
If
then,
you want Davis to watch your movie, just put something Spanish in it.
Hey,
I mean,
True.
you've cracked the code.
basically, yeah. West Side Story, the remake, directed by Steven Spielberg, is coming out on December 10th. I'm not excited for that.
Lin-Manuel
Don't care.
Miranda. That's
not
a different
care.
one.
Let's see. We've got The Matrix Resurrections is coming out December 24th. There's been one trailer for it, and the hype is kind of not built for it.
It's coming out when?
December 24th, the day before Christmas.
There's no way it's coming out in December.
Then-
Look again, Neo.
It literally. And then The King's Man, which is a prequel to The Kingsman, is
The
coming
King,
out on
man.
the same day. Then there's The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by
I do
Joe
wanna see
Cohen,
that.
starring Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, and a host of other people. Sing 2, also coming out December 24th.
What is?
Sing 2?
Yeah, instead of Sing 1, Sing 2.
Matthew McConaughey's in that.
My
Yes.
Ray Liotta Gorilla Dad.
And then American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story, starring Zachary
Yeah.
Levi, Anna Paquin, Dennis Quaid, and Adam Baldwin, one of these 75 Baldwin brothers. And then the last movie in
Watch out.
December is.
But I hope he doesn't play a
Wow.
cop or something.
Oh my! God. Y'all gotta stop. That's foul. And then into January, you've got Scream, which is Scream 5. But they're just calling it Scream. Sesame Street's
Is
getting
the
a
is
movie.
the A a 5?
No, actually, it's just Scream.
Is the E a 5?
No, it's just Scream.
Or any of the letters 5?
Is the knife a 5?
No, it's just Scream. Starring all of the original characters.
It could be called Screams, and the second S could be a 5.
And then Morbius coming out this January 28th.
Boo.
Do not care.
Who
I
cares?
lack excitement for that too. I'm just saying.
Sony's like,
So
let's make everything without that main
Morbius,
character.
Morpheus.
a film I think
More
you,
of his.
you failed to mention, Alex, is The Ark and the Aardvark.
What?
Yeah.
Coming out on December 30th, 2021. From the
I did not see that.
From the directors of Kung Fu Panda, an aardvark named Gilbert lands the job of shepherding all the animals onto Noah's Ark, starring Miles Teller,
That's not
Jenny
real.
Slate,
No way!
and Aubrey.
That's not real.
Miles Teller?
My personal favorite, Aubrey Plaza. So,
That's
Is this
not
the
real.
film that he shut down production for? That's
if
very
you guys would like to
unfortunate.
join me on December 30th, 2021, I will be watching Ark and the Aardvark.
That's not real.
Jack, I mean this as nicely as I can put it. No.
His name's Gilbert.
Isn't Knuckles an aardvark?
He's an echidna.
Craig Robinson. What the heck?
Which one's an aardvark?
None of them are aardvark.
Gilbert.
Arthur's an aardvark.
Gilbert's an aardvark.
Arthur's an aardvark.
Aardvark. Arthur
not
does
a
not
real
look like an
movie.
aardvark, but
That's not a real
There's a new
movie.
Norm of the North movie.
Jack, this movie is releasing in 2023.
why did Movie Phone lie to me?
This movie is, there's not even a trailer for it yet. There's very light concept art.
Norm to the
I
North.
got a poster of it right
Let
here.
me see.
Yeah, there's one poster for it. What does it say on the poster, Jack?
From the directors of Kung Fu Panda.
Ark the Aardvark.
It doesn't say a release date.
It says it right here on Movie Phone.
It says TBA on every
Is
single
it
one I can
Phone
find.
phone? Not reputable.
Okay.
It's Ark and the Aardvark.
Jack,
the
this
Ark
is-
and the Aardvark.
This is
Whatever.
why you don't have a movie podcast.
Yeah, this is why I'm not on Between
And
the
brother,
Lions.
it's starting to rain.
You better see.
You
You
fight
better
like
fight
you're
like you're the last aardvark.
and brother, it's starting to rain.
What is
Alright.
happening?
Well, I've received
Fight like you're the third aardvark coming to the Ark, and brother, it's starting to rain.
I've
One more
received
time.
a
You'll
bad
get
piece
it.
of information.
I got it.
But Miles Teller will be Gilbert, Aubrey Plaza will be Brain, Rob Riggle will be the Todd, Jenny Slate will be Mitzi,
Who's gonna be Noah?
Craig Robinson will be Clyde.
Fun fact, the director has been nominated for one Oscar. He also worked on Shrek, Shrek 2, and Madagascar.
This is gonna be great.
Aubrey Plaza.
Oh,
as
but he
Brain.
also worked on James and the Giant Peach. Let's go!
Yeah, I love that movie.
What a crazy movie.
That's a good movie.
I love that movie.
Cannot wait.
Based off a book. Is the Ark and the Aardvark based off of a book?
As of October 2016, the film is in production.
He also directed
Excellent news,
Sherlock
Michael.
Gnomes, the sequel to Romeo and Juliet.
No!
That's a spin-off. It's barely a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Fair enough.
They just couldn't do any more Shakespeare, so they went to
He
Sherlock Holmes.
also was the voice actor in Kung Fu Panda. He voiced the Rhino Guard.
Oh, I remember him.
Johnny Depp was Sherlock Gnomes. I think people forget that.
I forgot that.
Well,
James McAvoy's Nomeo.
I'm sorry.
Emily Blunt's Juliet.
I'm sorry for disrailing movie chat with Ark and the Aardvark.
No, that was
Romeo and
good.
Juliet's stacked. Mary J. Blige's Irene, Chiwetel Ejiofor's Dr. John Watson, Michael Caine's Lord Redbrick, Elton John's in it,
Maggie Smith, Jason Statham,
Stephen Merchant.
I'm just saying, Romeo and Juliet, most underrated movie of ever.
Horrendous
and
take. Don't
my
finish
brother's
that statement.
Wait, my brother's literature teacher was teaching them Romeo and Juliet, and she's like, "Field trip, let's go see Romeo and Juliet for a good comparison."
That's like my teacher that played epic rap battles of history, so we knew who Stalin was.
Who here knows who Stalin is?
That was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Rap it, Jack.
That's how your generation learns.
He said, any of you know who Stalin is? And because we don't like talking in class, no one said anything. He said, oh, you guys need to know who Stalin is. This is how your generation learns. And then my eyes in horror watched as he typed epic rap battles of history, Stalin.
Cool mustache, Wario. Look up the rest. That's the Reckerman day. All right, when we come back, Davis has to go see a man about a horse. He will not be joining us for the final half hour. We got weather. We got exciting stuff coming up. We got Recommonday, a new thing I'm starting where we recommend things. So get ready, Davis. Get ready to listen to that and not say anything. With that, we'll be back in about 2 minutes with the final half hour of the show. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Chris and Alex and Jack on the Compact Discourse show. We shall be back with some more in about 2 minutes. After a break, don't go anywhere.
Fire threatens everything in its path. When it threatens our nation and our communities, we respond. We bring the fight to the front line. The Army National Guard stands ready to face the dangers of Mother Nature and protect our homes and our neighbors. We will always be there when your community needs us the most. Discover more about all the ways you can serve part-time in your community by visiting nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alabama's companies know people need to feel safe at work. That's why Alabama Works has partnered with agencies across the state to provide access to everything from CDC guidelines to the latest in on-the-job safety innovations. At alabamaworks.com, you're one click away from what you need to know to get to work safely. Work safe, be safe. Your new success story is at alabamaworks.com.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Alabama veterans. Are you aware that because of your military service, you may have earned VA benefits? The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs can help you access those benefits at no cost to you, even during COVID-19 when other resources might be hard to find. The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs has an office near you. For more information, go to va.alabama.gov or give us a call at 334-242-5077. We're open and ready to serve you. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, the ABA, and this station.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Yes, hello. I was wondering if you could play that song again.
Which one, man?
The one that goes bee boo boo bop boo boo beep.
No, man, you're thinking of beep boo boo bop boo boo bop.
WEGL.
And now for the #1 song in Bikini Bottom, Electric Zoo.
Auburn.
Welcome back into Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com. Eagle Eye TV, YouTube, now, or however you are joining us today. Welcome in. Thank you for choosing to spend your Tuesday morning with us here on the show. I've got Alex and Chris hanging out with me. But first, we got to get to your Auburn weather report, as it is the bottom of the hour, 9:30 a.m. Davis, of course, had to go see a man about a horse, and he will not be returning. So that party can really start now. It is 63 degrees and sunny. It's warmed up a little bit since this morning as the sun has come out. High of 72 today, low of 45. Today's forecast for Auburn, Alabama will be a morning temperature of 65 degrees, afternoon temp up to 69 in the sunshine. Low chance of rain there. Clear skies throughout the evening. 54 degrees will be your evening temp with an overnight temp of 46. Sun is going to set at 4:40 p.m. So perfect weather for the WEGLs to pick up a playoff victory tonight in our intramural flag football game.
Yeah.
Winds light and variable, 5 mile per hour, blowing east right now. Visibility super high, 10 miles any direction. Humidity of 61%, and we are rapidly approaching a full moon. So there's something to be excited for the lycanthropes out there. Your 10-day weather report, we're looking at a high of 75 and 73 for Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. It's going to cool off over the weekend, highs in the mid-60s with lows in the high 30s to mid-40s. And very minimal chance of rain, 12% on Thursday, but that's about as high as we're going to get. And looking ahead down your 10-day forecast, I do not see a high over 70 degrees, folks. So bundle up and stay warm, as autumn is here to stay for quite some time as we move into the Thanksgiving holidays. Looks like Thursday the 25th here in Auburn, if you're sticking around for the holiday, will be 63 degrees is the high, 48 is the low, 24% chance of rain, and mostly cloudy on Thanksgiving. So get ready for that, as we are all excited for a week off from schoolwork, and we are very sad to take a week off from Compact Discourse, I know. With that, we're going to jump right back into the show with Recommonday. Yes, it is Tuesday, but as there was no show yesterday, Recommonday has been punted to Recca Tuesday. And with that, we'll be recommending things that we have been enjoying as of late to perhaps add some fulfillment to your life. And maybe if you'd like to recommend something to us, you can always get in touch at CDiscAU or 334-844-9345. And with that, we'll jump right in. Chris, would you like to start?
Sure. I got two recommendations. The first one is a book I finished recently called Not a Good Day to Die, The Untold Story of Operation Anaconda, one of the earliest operations in the war in Afghanistan, first use of conventional forces in Afghanistan. I know that if you're not in the military, you might be like, why would I want to read this? But it's a great example of what happens when basically higher staff mismanages things and how it affects people on the ground. You can read it if you're in the military and see the how generals and stuff mess stuff up, or you can look at it from the point of view of a company, of how a CEO or something will mess it up for the guys down in the line or in the factory or whatever. So it's a pretty good story, some brave heroism, and some pretty good stories there. Good learning experience. The second recommendation is a good snack hack, if you will.
Good grief.
If you like to consume large amounts of protein like myself, and you don't have the time to cook or anything, you can take 2 to 3 scoops of your favorite protein powder and mix it with just a bit of almond milk, or milk if you like that. I do almond milk. And then you mix it up, and then it becomes a pudding-like consistency, which is referred to as sludge. Protein sludge, protein pudding. Very yummy, very scrumptious. And you can put bananas and berries and nuts and peanut butter and whatever else you want to put in there for a nice, healthy snack or a good meal. Those are my recommendations.
Awesome. I don't know if I will be trying that.
It's very good.
It sounds pretty yummy.
I had it for breakfast today.
How was it?
It was good. I didn't want to put anything in it because I was too lazy, but I did have 3 scoops of protein. It tastes like pudding.
So what flavor protein powder did you use?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
I'm a big chocolate guy.
And almond milk?
Yes, chocolate and then a bit of almond milk, and then you just keep mixing it till it becomes a pudding-like substance.
Yum.
Yum.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. No disrespect. The book sounds really cool, though.
Eat your concrete.
Eat your concrete.
I also have a book that I've been reading. It is called How to Hide an Empire. This is a very interesting book about the American history, but from a different perspective, which is it's a fun thing if you already know a lot about American history to kind of see it through a different lens. So this book is by Daniel Immerwahr, and it was published in 2019, so it's a fairly new book. And basically what it is, it's a book about American history, but it includes and focuses on the parts of America outside of the continental United States, 48 states, and explains why they were often forgotten from history, even though they were, by and large, part of the American people and country, despite not being officially states. So it's kind of a redux, a twist on American history that's taught me, even as someone who knows a lot about American history, has taught me a ton of stuff I did not know. Basically, every chapter has something I didn't know about, because when you learn American history, when you take your AP classes, you're learning about the continental 48 states, you know? You don't learn about Puerto Rico. You don't learn about Guam. You don't learn about Hawaii. You don't learn about Cuba. You don't learn about the Philippines. And all of those places are very integral to the American experience and American history. And it also talks a lot about why exactly those are excluded from history. What, factors leading up to World War II, protectionism, exclusionism, nationalism, all these different things that lead up to the World Wars and the Cold War and the Spanish-American War, all these different things. There's a lot of reasons why we don't talk about these aspects of history, and it's important to kind of blow the dust off of them and understand why we don't talk about them, and to fix that, to talk about them and start the conversation. So I've been really enjoying it. It's full of anecdotes, light stories, fun stories. It's pretty light reading for being a heavy subject matter, but is very enjoyable, and it's pretty compartmentalized. So I've been enjoying it, and I would recommend How to Hide an Empire, A History of the Greater United States by Daniel Immerwahr. That is my recommendation of the day.
Awesome.
Very nice, Jack. Very nice. Do I go?
You can go.
Okay, well, I got one. I was thinking for a second. I was trying to figure it out, but I've got actually a TV show on Hulu. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. It shares the same name of a movie that came out in 2014, directed by and starring Taika Waititi, who directed Thor Ragnarok. And it is a mockumentary-style show that follows 4 vampires and their human companion, essentially as they just mess around for 3 straight seasons. They're on their 3rd season right now. And I personally have always really liked mockumentary-style shows. I always liked Modern Family. And, I know The Office is a very similar format, or not very exact similar format. And, yeah, it's just really funny. It's very crude, I will admit, and that's kind of almost implied in the name. I told somebody the name, and oh, my gosh, that's ridiculous. It's not really necessarily that crude in terms of what the name implies, but it's really funny, and it's on Hulu, and they just released their 3rd season and completed it all just this year, so all 10 episodes of Season 3 are there. Just 30 episodes. Each episode's 20 minutes. I think it's hilarious. It's because it's just following them as there's not any particular main recurring plot. It's just them messing around for 30 episodes, and yeah, I really like it a lot.
That's very interesting. Show. I saw that it looks like Jermaine Clement is the creator.
Yes.
So it's based on the Taika Waititi book.
Yes, exactly.
So both halves of Flight of the Conchords are in on this? Interesting.
What?
Flight of the Conchords. Their band.
Oh, I did not know there was a band.
Oh, you didn't know about Flight of the Conchords?
I must admit I did not.
Jermaine Clement is Tamatoa from the hit Pixar film Moana, the singing crab.
Seriously?
Yes, of course.
Wow. Jack, you've got all this background information. I don't know how you do it.
I know silly things, nothing important.
Fair
awesome.
enough.
So, yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, TV series, looks very interesting.
On Hulu. It's hilarious.
I'm on the Wikipedia article right now.
Oh, as I'm on the movie article for it as well. Because the movie came out in 2014, then the show released in 2016.
Very interesting. All right, well, that was Rec-a-Monday, coming at you live on a Tuesday, as there was no Monday show, once again. But if you have something you would like to recommend, or you have some feedbacks, if you try and like or dislike something that we've recommended on the show, we would love to hear from you. Of course, 334-844-9345 is the number, and at CDISCAU is the Twitter account. If you would like to tweet at us while we are live or while we are not live, we would love to read from it either way. And with that, that concludes Rec-a-Monday. I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. I hope you weren't too put on the spot by that.
You're talking to me. I mean, I was not.
I was the royal you, both of you.
I was able to come up with something quick enough.
I was ready.
He's ready.
Chris was ready to
Stay ready. Always stay ready.
All right. With that, we are going to head to a quick break, and when we return, we will continue the discussion here on Compact Discourse. A lot to get to. We'll make the last segment extra long today, and with that, we will be back in about 2 minutes with the final segment of the show. If you have something you'd like to talk about in the final 20 minutes of our time together today, you know how to contact us. We'll be right here on the Big 91, WEGL 91.1 FM, the Superstation, broadcasting live since 1971. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use, like, anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey, bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dun 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 dun. Stampede! Go you Dallas Cowboys, go!
Oh, it is fumbled by Romo, and then Romo's going to run to the end zone, and he's going to get tackled by Jordan Babineau. Amazing!
Damn them Cowboys!
Should he be fired? Absolutely. Will he be fired? Never.
I'm telling you, he love him some Jason Garrett, okay? Jason Garrett can lose every game. It doesn't matter.
Aikman, touchdown. Unbelievable. Aikman, touchdown. Unbelievable. Aikman, touchdown.
I dwell in the past.
Welcome back into Compact Discourse this morning. Welcoming you in to the final segment of the show. We will be spending the final segment of the show talking about the Dallas Cowboys for 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not even the same. Please stop it.
I dwell in the past. Anyway, that was Cowboys Corner. Longtime fans of the show will remember that from over 2 years ago at this point, back on the Extra Point. My freezing cold take about Jason Garrett will live in infamy as part of the Cowboy Corner intro. But with that, I think it's a great segue into talking about the National Football League, which continues to find new ways to bore me week in and week out. But I think it's worth talking about. No, Alex? What?
No, so you said you had breaking news or whatever, so I was kind of waiting for you to open with that.
Let's do the scores first. The breaking news is the future. All right, I think we'll just contextualize this discussion by talking about what happened over the weekend in the NFL. Let's hit it. Okay, on Thursday in a game I hope you didn't watch, the Dolphins beat the Ravens 22-10.
It was a bad game.
On Sunday, the Cowboys beat the Falcons by 40 points.
So exciting.
The Titans improved to the 1 seed in the AFC as they defeated the Saints 23-21. The Colts narrowly squeaked by the Jaguars 23-17. Patriots blow out the Browns 45-7. The The Bills blow out the Jets 45-17. In overtime, everybody loses. The Lions and the Steelers tie 16 apiece in probably the worst game of the year.
Yeah.
Tom Terrific makes his journey to the nation's capital and gets schooled by Taylor Heineke. Washington football team defeats the Bucs 29-19. Uh-oh, I'm back. Cam Newton defeats the Cardinals 34-10 as P.J. Walker goes 22 of 29. Christian McCaffrey's back too, don't forget. Vikings defeat the Chargers 27-20. The Eagles take down the Broncos 30-13. And in your primetime games, the Packers blanked the Seahawks 17-0. Aaron Rodgers went 23 of 37 in that one. And on Sunday Night Football, it was the Chiefs all over the Raiders 41-14 as Pat Mahomes throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. On Monday Night Football last night over in San Francisco, it was the division-leading Rams coming to town and limping away as they get schooled 31-10 by the 49ers in those throwback uniforms. And that is what happened this weekend in the NFL. I hope you enjoyed all of it. The games I watched were not good. That would have been the Dolphins-Ravens game. I think you can squarely file that as not good. I think you could watch the Lions and Steelers game and say that was not good.
It was kind of funny for a second.
It was pretty funny. I mean, I won't lie. I was watching. I was rooting for the tie.
The fact that the Lions are going to find a way to go 0-16 again because they're going to have one tie is the best thing in the history of humanity.
I think there were 3 fumbles in overtime.
It was hilarious.
It was awful. But
Mason Rudolph attempted 50 passes.
Which, again, that's how you know you're doing bad, when you've got that awful quarterbacks throwing the ball that much. No disrespect to Mason Rudolph, but he hasn't been good since his sophomore year at Oklahoma State.
A game I did watch and enjoy was the hapless Panthers heading into State Farm's State Farm Field, and destroying the top-seeded Cardinals by a final score of 34-10 in the return of the prodigal son. Cameron Jarrell Newton is back, baby.
I'm going to be honest. I think part of the problem with the league this year is that you can't tell what's going to happen. Like, the Cardinals, I know they have Colt McCoy, but to let Carolina score 34 points is kind of insane.
Alex, you seem to forget that this is the year and always has been. We needed the slow start to build up the story. What story is that? The return of the king, Super Cam, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback in Panthers franchise history, and inevitable Super Bowl MVP, Cam Newton. It's a feel-good story that the NFL needed because, oh my God, has the season been so boring.
His first 2 touches were touchdowns, that is. Yamo.
His first two touches were, wow, Jack, truly exquisite analysis.
You don't get that. You don't get that on ESPN, folks.
You do not.
The NFL needs this. Like, I'm not even as a Panthers fan, but the NFL needs this to happen because the only news you see from the NFL is how angry it makes everyone. The infamous already Bears-Steelers game from last week where what's-his-face got a penalty.
Marsh, yeah.
For staring at the Steelers sideline. I mean, you have players.
And then the ref hip checks him on his way back to his own sideline.
Hip checks him before tossing the flag. I mean, even the players currently in the NFL are speaking out against the NFL and how awful it is. We had a freezing cold take at the beginning of the season thinking that this was going to be the fun one. And God, do we look like a bunch of idiots right now sitting here in the studio because this season has been atrocious.
I mean, the reality is the officiating has been the story too many times. There's been too many stories outside of the games themselves, like...
that's because they're looking for anything to talk about. The games
you have too much
boring.
Inconsistency. You have... I mean, of course, any given Sunday, that's why you watch the NFL, which you need a healthy level of parity, but you should not have the Dallas Cowboys who get down 30-0 to the Broncos one week and then get up 40 points on the Falcons the next.
The inconsistency is bordering on insanity at this point. It's almost too hard to keep track of because there's just so much of it.
It's not the good type of any given Sunday.
I would agree with that.
It's who's starting a guy you haven't seen since 2010 this week.
It's very much like...
I didn't even know Colt McCoy was still alive, let alone starting for the Cardinals.
So, Jack, what was your breaking news that you had hinted at before the break?
Well, I think if you check the schedule for Week 10, you may see an interesting matchup in Charlotte on Sunday.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to stop yelling.
If you check my location on this Saturday, you might just notice that I'm just a mere 2.5-hour drive away from said game.
Are you going?
And I think if you check my pocketbook, it may be a little bit lighter at the end of today because I think I'm going, Alex. I think I'm going to witness the Washington football team
think two of
versus
the three
Cam
people,
Newton versus Ron Rivera versus the greatest game ever played in the history of the NFL this season.
I think 2 of the 3 people in this room are probably going to be going.
3 of the. If you had asked us earlier, it might have been 3 of the 4.
I will not because I'm not giving Washington a dime. But I suppose with that in mind, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a crazy game.
We're gonna be linking up with the DeBias extended family on Saturday to hopefully watch Auburn do anything against the Gamecocks.
I mean, TJ Finley did dot up South Carolina last year.
Yeah, well,
True.
you know, I'm not holding my breath. I'm excited about Cameron Jarrell Newton,
That's
the
gonna be a
person that
crazy
got me
game.
into sports in the first place. I guarantee Bank of
The
America
reason
Stadium
Chris
is going to be
DeBias
sold
is
out.
sitting in Auburn, Alabama today.
Literally, fun fact: the whole reason I even knew about Auburn was because Cam Newton went here, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be silly if I visited the school that my favorite NFL team's quarterback went to? Well, the joke's on me because I loved it, and now I'm here.
There
Dang
you go.
5 years
Dang.
later, he's here.
There you go. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Perfect matchup nearly for Carolina because Washington is without their 2 top pass rushers. Montez Sweat's jaw's broken and Chase Young's ACL is no longer functioning.
When did that happen?
Did Geno Smith punch him?
No, actually, I'm not sure how it happened, but Washington is currently missing 9 starters. So.
This is shaping up to be. Well, I don't want to say anything because this NFL season has shown that if anything's going to happen, the Panthers are going to get blown out by 80. But this is shaping up to be a magnificent return of the king.
It's going to be a very interesting game to see. Washington's going to have to figure out ways to adjust their defense to the fact that they are without their 2 best pass rushers and first-round picks. They do have 3 first-round picks on the defensive line still, but they will be without Young and Sweat, at least as far as I can tell right now.
I'm even packing my Luke Kuechly jersey. I'm so excited.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm on cloud 9 because Heineke once again looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback against Tom Brady, which never ceases to amaze me.
I've always liked Heineke.
I still, I enjoy when they play the Bucs, and I wasn't even watching the game. Like, I was like, I don't have time for this. I got homework. I don't want to add any more stress to my schedule. And then my dad's like, are you watching the game? And I was like, I guess I'm not. And then I turned it on, and it was insanity.
It makes you wish that he would have been the starter for Carolina all those years ago, but the Carolina team was so god-awful that literally the first play of the game, our offensive line had an aneurysm or something, and Taylor Heineke got sacked and broke his ankle or something, thus leading to the Kyle Allen saga that we all wish we could forget.
I don't know, Davis. I remember Davis on the original iteration of From the Bench arguing with me that Kyle Allen is the future.
I will forever clown him for that. Anyone that ever thought Kyle Allen was anything more than quarterback filler should be embarrassed with themselves.
Fair point. Now, with you guys going to the game, could you do me a favor and bring a sign that says Dan Snyder sucks, and could you hold it up at the game?
Hey, we should hold up the entire full-page ad he took out in the Washington football team program from last Sunday.
What?
There was an entire full-page spread about Dan Snyder.
Are you serious?
Ooh.
Yeah. Let me be clear when I say
owns
this.
the football team.
I know he does, but what do you mean they took out an ad?
It's
look,
just like
look how great this guy is.
Essentially, despite the fact that he is one of the worst people in the history of professional sports.
I don't know, Alex. Did Dan Snyder single-handedly line up against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football?
No.
Yes, he did. That's a deep cut South Park reference. Hot.
I do not understand that reference, I must admit. I do know that time where they changed the name and they got it trademarked. I remember that.
I know Jack knows it.
I know it.
He's not showing any reaction because he didn't like it.
Jack, you didn't like it?
I'm gonna text you the picture of Dan Snyder.
Hot.
Fair enough. But yeah, if you guys could do that, that'd be pretty great because he is awful and the people need to know. So
let the people know.
Let the people
All right.
know.
If you weren't tired of 28-3 jokes on Saturday, don't worry. You'll get some more on Thursday as the Falcons take on the Patriots in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
What the heck?
On Thursday Night Football.
What's on Thursday?
It seems Alex has just received the text message I sent him.
What is this nonsense? Oh my.
Love that guy.
So coming
Why
up
does he
on
look so long?
More importantly, there is not a page full of good things to say about that pile of garbage. So I don't know why
Jokic in the paint. What is he doing owning the Washington football team?
I mean, seriously, I want to zoom in and read some of this. Let me see if I can. All right, let's zoom in. A self-made man and entrepreneur. Oh, please. What is this garbage? He's defrauded half the fan base. It doesn't matter.
A Washington football team fan to the core.
He sued a 75-year-old lady during the recession because she couldn't pay for her season tickets because she lost her house.
Listen,
get out of here.
He's just doing what he's got to do for the team.
Oh, my gosh.
On the grind.
How else are you going to bring attention to
what else we got? What else do we have? What do we got? We got the is there a part about retiring Sean Taylor's jersey to distract from the controversy? Turns out he tried to pay hush money. No, there's not anything about it. Oh my.
Hush money for what? You're saying I'm not familiar with the lore of the football team.
So recently there was a significant amount of harassment allegations against the organization, tenfold from
I remember that.
For years, and women have come out and accused them. There was this huge Wilkinson report that the NFL investigated the whole thing, and then it came out that the Washington football team attempted to pay the women to make the women sign or offer the women to sign non-disclosure agreements and pay them money so they wouldn't talk about the scandal anymore.
I do recall that. I guess Dan Snyder's thing almost worked because all I remember of that whole saga is Patrick Mahomes' brother stepping on Sean Taylor's number.
Yes, that. Yep.
Well, I'm glad you brought it back to my attention.
Renegade.
As historically I have done since I was born, I will continue to not support the Washington football team.
Under his leadership, the team has maintained its place in the top tier of the world's most valuable franchises. No! I'm sorry.
Not really saying much what you're doing well in the NFC East. I'm just saying.
Except the problem is they aren't doing well in the NFC East, Chris. That's the issue. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about.
The Clay Thompson stakes. Davis and I read each other's minds. I made a basketball reference.
I think he might be
listening to the show.
No, actually, there's no way he is. He's in
Davis,
class.
blink twice if you're listening to the show.
Yeah, we'll check it out on your camera. All right. Well, some good news to end the show. Concurrent with Executive Order 14042 and associated guidance from federal contractors, beginning yesterday, Auburn University will no longer require face coverings in most campus buildings for those who are fully vaccinated. So enjoy that. Breathe easier out there, Auburn. And,
Cam Newton's back.
Enjoy your day. Was that?
Cam Newton's back.
Cam Newton is back.
Taylor Heineke's a Hall of Famer against the Bucks.
So, Battle of the Panthers quarterbacks on Sunday. Ron Rivera will be there. Christian McCaffrey will be there. And, of course, Cam Newton will be there.
Wait. Can we close out the show with a quote from Taylor Heineke?
Okay.
When asked about Cam Newton coming back for the home game, Taylor Heineke, the great guy he always is, says, "It should be fun. He's like the god of Charlotte." I think that's a pretty good quote.
I think that's pretty apt to the situation.
Also, Caleb Jones just posted this. Cam Newton won a national championship in Arizona. His debut was in Arizona, and he returned to Carolina in Arizona, all in the same stadium.
I think to this day, his first start is the most passing yards he's had in a game.
It is, actually, if I believe so. Chaos.
Arizona.
Yeah.
With that, that's the word of the day. With that, we're going to end the show. Thank you so much for listening to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, however you joined us today, whether that be from your radio antenna from WeagleFM.com, by listening to our podcast, or watching our YouTube stream. We would like to remind you that all of our previous episodes are available as a podcast, absolutely commercial break free, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Compact Discourse. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CDiscAU, that's at CDISCAU, for links to the podcast, information about the show, and important updates. You can also tweet at us to get your voice on the show and join in the conversation on Auburn's only student-run morning drive time show. You might also want to go ahead and follow WEGL on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WEGL_AU. That's Weagle_AU, as our dedicated team of marketing professionals is working tirelessly to provide you with high-quality content for fans of the station. And with that, for Jack Hart, Chris Tobias, Alex Houston, and Davis Carroll, this has been another exciting episode of Compact Discourse. We will wish you a great rest of your Tuesday. We will be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 a.m. for another exciting episode of the show. As always, this is Jack Hart signing off. War Eagle, go 1-0, and enjoy your maskless day.
right now, we don't need more engineers.
In Alabama, the recycling industry employs nearly 11,000 men and women. Recycling just 10% more would create an additional 1,400 jobs and $66 million in personal income. To learn about recycling opportunities in your area, contact the East Alabama Recycling Partnership. Recycling works in Alabama. Brought to you by the East Alabama Recycling Partnership, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our